So, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Nah, it it had some potential. The problem, I think, lies a lot with the script issues that they had from the beginning. It had an interesting concept. You got Sam, who doesn't want to become Captain America. You got Bucky, who's struggling with his own issues, being brainwashed and murdering hundreds of people for over 60 years. Um, there's a lot of problems with this. Number one, they set up this whole thing where Bucky befriends this very old Asian man, and you just think, oh, it's like I just assumed it was like Steve's and Bucky's like old war buddy, because they fought together, because I was just assuming they were putting two Asian characters together, and they're like, oh, this is that older soldier that Bucky and Cap fought with back in World War II. No, not the case at all. It's revealed in the first episode that Bucky actually murdered his son when he was the Winter Soldier. So Bucky's trying to make amends, try and befriend these people and then explain to them in the end like what they did. So at the end of the series, Bucky talks to this guy, and this whole storyline's just thrown out the window. He goes to him and he's like, I'm here to tell you about your son. He's like, my son? What do you know about my son? And then he's like, he was murdered. What? He was murdered by the Winter Soldier. I don't understand. He's like, I murdered him. And then he leaves and closes the apartment door. Like there was no conversation. That's exactly how it played out. It was terrible. It was laughable. I was like, hey buddy, I killed your son. Peace. No, they took so much time in the first episode setting this up, only to just completely ignore it by the end of the series. I don't understand that. And now that brings me to Sharon Carter, who is like the great niece of Agent Carter from Captain America. So basically, her whole story arc is she helps Captain America in Civil War, gets him his shield back, and becomes a fugitive. So Captain America and everyone else is on the run from Civil War all the way up to Endgame, basically. Or not End. Yeah, they're fugitives up until Endgame, until they defeat Thanos and get pardoned by the end of the movie. But she never got pardoned. So she has been on the run for the last 7 years. So 7 years she's been on the run. It is revealed that she is, I think it's called the Handbreaker or something like that. Anyway, she's like this evil type of scum lord. I don't know. She's a bad guy. Okay, she's a bad guy. Anyway, so Sam asks her for help. It's not revealed. Like, he does not know she is a bad person. He does not know that. So he says, hey, you help me, I can probably get you a pardon. So but at the end of the season, she helps him and she gets a pardon. Then there's this hearing. The government has her and they're saying, congratulations, we failed you, in the system. You should have been pardoned a long time ago, and we apologize. And we want you to take your old position back. Is that something you would like? And she's like, yes, I would like to have that. Okay. You just had a little show called WandaVision, where there is a government agency called S.H.I.E.L.D., and then there's also a government agency called S.W.O.R.D. So S.H.I.E.L.D. no longer exists, because Captain America destroyed it, because it was all run by Nazis / Hydra. So now there's S.W.O.R.D. So in WandaVision, this is what they say to Rambo. You can't have that kind of rank. You can't have access to this or that because you have been missing for 5 years. So in WandaVision, she was part of the blip. That's what they're calling the snap, when you disappear. So she disappeared for 5 years and reappeared. So she's only a field agent. She's not allowed to have it classified information or run big department heads or anything like that because she was missing for 5 years. So they're worried, that's part of the procedure. They're worried, what were they doing all that time? Were they becoming terrorists and stuff? Like, that's literally what they say. Then in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you have this woman who's been a fugitive for 7 years, didn't disappear. She was a fugitive for 7 years before the blip. And you say, hey, let's give her old position back and give her classified information. At the very end of the episode, she's calling like her partners and stuff like that, saying, yes, we're in. We'll have access to classified information. Did the writers of the Falcon and Winter Soldier not pay attention to what the heck happened in WandaVision? That was a key storyline. I love that character. Or I did until Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Or, you know what? It's Sam and Bucky. Let's just call it Sam and Bucky. Because it's not even going to be called... I think it's actually going to be called Captain America and the Winter Soldier now is what they're going to call. I don't know. But regardless, they ruined a decent character. Who knows? Maybe they'll redeem her whole storyline in the next one. But I feel like they already destroyed it. Because it just goes against everything that they already set up in WandaVision. Don't cater... If you want her to be the villain, don't put her in a government situation after you just said in this other government agency, you can't have this classified information because you've been missing. But in this one, they just completely ignore that. I hate that. Anyway. And then you have the stupid, worthless storyline where Sam, and he's trying to keep his family boat afloat and he can't get a loan. And because he has no previous record of employment in the last 5 years because he disappeared during the snap. And I think that's BS. So I actually talked to a buddy of mine who was working in the military and he did government contracts as well. And he was telling me, he's seen what certain people get paid for a government contract. And he's like, somebody with Sam's expertise working for government contracts would be making so much stinking money, is what he was saying. So, I call BS on that, pretending Sam can't afford to keep his own family boat afloat and stuff like that. No. Just proof of that alone from what my buddy told me is proof enough. I knew that, but I couldn't confirm anything like that. But according to my buddy, yeah, he would have made so much money doing what he was doing for the government. And basically at the end, he calls in a bunch of favors from his old childhood friends to fix up the boat. It's supposed to be this awesome barbecue scene where the community's coming together to fix up his boat. That storyline was useless. Sam's progression throughout this whole series is somewhat decent. I enjoy it. When he actually goes to what we know about Sam originally, in case you don't know, in Captain America, the Winter Soldier, it's revealed Sam has these support groups of people who are having difficulty adjusting to the new world after coming out of the military. And Sam actually talks these people down, and tries to help them. And there's actually parts in this show where he does stuff like that. There's these terrorist groups. I think the girl's name is Carly. And she's an extremist and just takes things to the extreme. And Sam actually takes a minute to talk to her and almost talk her down till Walmart Captain America comes in and ruins everything. But you got to see that element, what we actually know Sam for, character development that was set up movies ago. That's what I want to see more of. You had me going. I loved those scenes with Sam when he's actually in his element, talking about what he actually talks about instead of talking about his family problems that shouldn't even exist because of lazy writing. Now, there's this other person in the show, Isaiah, who was Captain America he was tested on, he was experimented on. And basically, that's all the government used him for. The U.S. government did this to him, abused him, and refused to let him shine because he was black. Now, that's kind of an interesting storyline. I kind of like that. And he was basically telling Sam, he's like, nobody would accept you as a black person to take on the mantle of Captain America. And Sam, that's one of the things Sam's struggling with, because it's already feeding into what he actually already thinks. He's like, I don't think I can become Captain America. By the last episode, Bucky gives him a suit from the Wakandans. It's basically this whole Falcon suit that's like a mix between Falcon and Captain America. Now, here's what I like about this. Sam uses his suit also to use the shield. So, for instance, he uses the shield, and his super soldier comes up and whacks the shield. Now, if anybody did that, Sam would go flying away. Like, that punch, doesn't matter how, like, just using that shield and having somebody with super strength punching you, Sam would go, like, 10 feet against the wall. But because of his suit, he's able to use his wings to go into the ground, give him some extra support from behind while he holds the shield. That's clever writing. That's a clever way to use Sam as Captain America with this shield. Everything they used combat-wise for Sam with the shield, I 100% believed. Except for what I was saying before. Sam throwing the shield and being instantly know how to, like, use it. It comes back at him, and he's able to, like, scoop it in the wrist and everything. I don't believe that. But then I heard something. I was rewatching Captain America Civil War. And there was a line in that I never thought about when I was complaining about this. When Captain America throws his shield at Spider-Man, Spider-Man looks at him and he says, that shield does not obey the laws of physics whatsoever. And it was kind of funny because I was like, you're right. The shield does not obey the laws of physics. So why am I complaining about it? Because it's true, you know, and they're really aware of that. So I really shouldn't complain about that anymore because I'm taking this too seriously. And should just sit there and have fun with it. And I kind of appreciated that a little more. Me just being critiquing a little too much. But like I said, the way Sam uses the shield and everything at the end in the series, the season finale was great. And Walmart Captain America becomes U.S. agent by the end of the show. He has a little bit of redemption story at the end, which I guess flowed a little better. I kind of wish midway through the season, he kind of loses it for a minute. His partner gets killed. He goes after the super serum guy and basically plummets, like shoves the shield in his face and kills him. And, you know, the whole world thinks he doesn't deserve to be Captain America anymore. Granted, yes, you know, they have this whole scene setting that up. The government's saying you're no longer Captain America. You're stripped of your title. But they didn't have that could have been a great scene for him and his wife. He has a wife in this show. Like, what do you talk about? Like, that could have been an intense scene. You know, it could have shown, like, should she bring it up? Should he bring it up? You know, that could have been a great character development scene, just showing what kind of relationship those two have, and there was nowhere to be seen. And I think that was a missed opportunity there. Now, Grant, at the end of the show, they're still together. She's a very supportive wife, and he becomes U.S. agent. He gets to redeem himself a little bit, which, you know, is a good character development storyline. And he did a great job at being hated, but he was so good he was hated. Kind of like King Joffrey from Game of Thrones. He was almost borderline right there. All in all, I don't think this is. I put this right above Iron Man 2 and Thor: The Dark World. It's right around there. And it's a real shame because I had such high expectations for this show. I was looking forward to this more than WandaVision. I was looking forward to this more than The Mandalorian when I heard about this. I think a lot of that, again, has to do with the script. So hopefully the next season they'll do better at that, and we'll see where they go from there. All in all, decent little 6-parter episode. They kind of dropped the ball on a few characters, but, well, let's just see what they do in the next season. So that's my quick review. Spoilers, obviously. Didn't go into a lot of details because there's just not really anything to talk about. It was a little bit of a letdown, not enough character development. But anyway, that's my quick review. If you've guys seen it, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.